They say dress for where you would like to go in life. And I feel like going on vacation, but since I'm not going on vacation, may as well dress like it, eat like it, so let's get started. Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night and Monday afternoon. But again, that'll just be our secret. Anyway, today I wanted to show you guys maybe some parts of Italian fast food that you might not be as familiar with. I mean, if you've been to Italy or if you're familiar with Italian food, you grew up with it, some of these things might look familiar to you. But what I'm getting is not really so common in the north. You can find it, but this is probably some of my favorite stuff that is kind of more street food. I'm just on my way to pick it up right now, and I actually ordered it on an app just kind of to pre-order it and kind of prepare a little bit for the video. And so it's just going to take me 2 minutes to get there. I'm going to get to the place, grab it, bring it home, and show it to you guys later. Okay, so I'm going to be a few minutes early, and I don't want to put them under any kind of pressure, just to be a good human being. And came to the official decision is my favorite place here in Rovigo, the Fantasy Academy that I told you about in the last video when I did my little gelateria tour here. So just going to grab a quick little something, just prepare for dinner, prepare the palate. Ciao. Una pallina di Snickers in un coppetta, per favore. No pistachio this time. Snickers. It's not real Snickers. It's basically chocolate, peanut butter, caramel, and this has become my favorite flavor at this gelateria. So if you're ever in Rovigo, highly recommend. But before it melts, I gotta get back to work. Just going right down here because it's right, not too far from the center, really close. It's on one of the main piazzas. It's the Piazza della Repubblica. It's not like a big piazza where people sit, but it's a place where people drive. Tuesdays they have a market that goes down the main street over there, and part of it actually ends up on this piazza here, and this whole area is filled up with shopping. Ciao, buonasera.
Hai fatto l'ordine?
Sì, fatto un ordine sull'applicazione.
È tutto pronto, devo soltanto scaldare.
Ok, nessun problema. Sul mio ordine c'è qualcosa qua che non ordinato?
Quella è molto buona, fesa di tacchino.
Ok.
Questo è il dolce.
Oh, okay. It's a lot. I'm not going to eat this all tonight. Just some of it's going to be reheated. But anyway, I'll show it to you in a sec. All right, so I just got back, and yeah, pretty big package of stuff. All right, so the big reveal. This I'll save for after, and this I will eat today. Well, I had the gelato, so maybe I'll just have a quick little bite. So I'll show that to you after. But there's a lot of stuff here. A ton of stuff here. This is really a good kind of sense of all the, not all, but a lot of the different types of fast foods that you can get in Italy. But let's start off with probably something that is the most classic that everybody knows, a panino. Outside of Italy, a lot of people like to call it panini. Like, there's a thing about that, a linguistic thing. I'm going for a panini. I always laugh when I hear that because panini is plural, and just a single panini is actually a panino. Just cut a piece off so we can get this cross-section action. And so in Italy, very common, you go to a place and you get like a toasted sandwich with cheese and ham. This one actually happens to be turkey with cheese. And so it doesn't look the best, and even though this is actually on the cheaper side, everything that I got here that you're seeing right now in total was maybe 25, 6, 7 euro. I forget exactly off the top of my head because I bought some of it to the application, and then I saw some of this stuff while I was there. And so yeah, this basically turkey sandwich. The bread is super soft, and just the sandwich like this on its own would be $3.50, which in Italy is a pretty good price, even if you go north or south, but especially in the north, like in Veneto. This kind of price is not so easy to find for a full sandwich. You can find maybe in a focaccia style bread like this, but I've been to places where you would get a sandwich like this, the same kind of size, you saw the full thing before, for 5 or 6 euros. But this place in particular, this pucceria, a pucce is the next thing that I will show you. It's also a type of sandwich. It's just a different kind of bread. And these things in general are mostly more southern style, not so much northern style. You can get them in the north. Like, I live in Veneto and we're not that far from Venice, so you do see these things up here. But in general, it's more common in the south. All right, so next is the pucce. This thing, what is this pucce? It's a kind of strange looking bread, and on the inside, this one happens to have prosciutto crudo with mozzarella, fresh mozzarella, tomatoes, and arugula, and it's a nice solid sandwich. The bread is the part that I find the most interesting. As far as I know, this is a Pugliese style thing from Puglia down in the south. Like, Puglia is the region that makes up the heel of the boot, if you were to look at Italy like a boot. But a pucce, the bread itself, is basically a pizza dough that they just throw in the oven, slice in half, and make into a sandwich. Anyway, very soft. There was a little bit of crunch getting through, but I can tell that the inside is super, super soft. So overall, if you're getting something out like this, when it comes to Italian junk food, it's not all that horrible. There are fried things, and there's a few fried things here, but I'm just gonna cut off a little bit of a smaller piece so there's not quite a repeat of last week. Anyway, cheers. Really, the best way I can describe it is that it is a pizza dough made into a sandwich, and it's really as simple as that, but so much flavorful, simple flavors, but powerful flavors. And that fresh bit of mozzarella in there makes a world of a difference. All right, so the next two things, I'm gonna show them at the same time because they're two different versions of basically the same thing. Basically, a calzone. This one is fried, this one is baked. If I remember correctly, it has cheese and ham on the inside, like cooked ham, not like prosciutto crudo. They call it prosciutto cotto. This one, forget what's inside, but it's got, I think, eggplant and other veggies inside. So anyway, I'll cut a piece of these off just so you can see a little bit of the difference, because even though they look similar, they're actually quite different in my opinion. So this doesn't have a crazy cross section, but you've got some of that prosciutto in there and the cheese, and some places I've seen where it like really oozes out, but I'm not the craziest when there's too much, but it's deep fried and it doesn't taste like a donut. It's not sweet like a donut, but the consistency of the dough is not far off. So think of a not sweet donut, but made into a sandwich. Now I'm gonna go in for the baked one. This one should be a little bit more interesting. Yeah. All those veggies on the inside with cheese, and this is baked. So this is more like a normal pizza, what you might expect, but the fried pizza, it's another kind of thing. One's not better, one's not worse, it's just you're comparing apples and oranges basically. Even if they use the same dough between the two, they taste completely different. Here's this little mini cross section. So if you're looking more for that kind of normal pizza flavor that you might be used to, something like this is going to be more familiar. But if you're looking for something more kind of adventurous, try the fried panzerotto. I'm starting to get a bit thirsty. Not a sponsor of any kind. I just really happen to enjoy San Pellegrino Quino. There's other types of quinotto out there. And if you don't know what quinotto is, it's basically, think about how cola, the citrus kind of flavor in there is generally that kind of, is more like a citric acid, like lime or lemon type flavor. The fruit that they use instead for this is, because it's basically the same kind of herbal kind of tasting drink, they use oranges for this, and I actually much prefer it. I almost never ever drink cola, but every once in a while, if I'm gonna have a soda, I'll get something like this. And it's a hot day, so a nice cool drink is very welcome. All right, next section, more fried stuff. These are probably two of my favorites. These are arancini. This one is with peas and I forget what it has inside, but each one is a little different. One of them has peas and one of them has spinach, but I'll just quickly cut them just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what it looks like on the inside. Basically, it's rice. So this one has rice, peas, and meat on the inside. So around the edge, it's basically this whole wrapper is all rice that's clumped together, and then on the inside is ground beef with peas. Peas you don't always see in this sort of thing, but this one just happens to have it. In its plural form, it's arancini or arancine, but in its singular form, it's arancino or arancina. It all depends on what part of Sicily you're in. If I'm not mistaken, it's arancina in Catania and arancino in Palermo. I could be wrong about that, but if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comment section below. Anyway, This one doesn't have so much of the meat part, but it's still one of my favorite things. Easiest way to describe what this is, fried rice ball. Next, let's move on to this green one, which I think has spinach inside. So this is a little bit different. It doesn't have as much kind of stuffed on the inside, but again, it has rice around the outside and a little bit of stuffing on the inside. Let me taste it and see exactly what it is. And of course, this is all just simply for science, but someone has to make the sacrifice. And if that has to be me, I shall do my part. I've never had this kind before. I may not be converted, but I know I would get it again. This next one is more of a snack kind of thing that you just kind of get on the side, or you have it like in the middle of the afternoon, and all it is a potato croquette. Very simple little thing. They come in different shapes and sizes. This one is probably one of the larger ones that I've seen, but it's got like mashed potato on the inside, usually with like some herbs and stuff. Depends on where you're getting. Oh, this one actually has what looks like mashed potatoes, some herbs, some type of cheese, and then also prosciutto cotto. So this one's actually pretty solid, a lot more than I thought it would be. So I'm actually really excited to taste this because I've never had a croquette with this inside. That's how you do it. The only thing that I could almost kind of relate this to in the States would be, think of a mozzarella stick, but instead of using breadcrumbs around the outside, they use potato as kind of like just a thick layer with some cheese and ham on the inside. But not like American ham, like Italian prosciutto cotto. Whew. That's too good. That's way too good. One other thing that I don't have in front of me, but I'll try to put some video in. In Italy, you have basically 3 types of pizzerias that you'll see. You'll have one which is called Pizzeria al Taglio, which is basically pizza by the slice, and they have this big sheet of pizza, and they just slice off how much you want, and you usually pay by the weight. Almost never do they do it by the slice, but in some places this does exist. It just depends on where you are, but more often it is by the weight. Then you have Pizza di Asporto, which is basically pizza but to go. But in Italy, it's not so normal that you see like a big family-sized pizza. It does exist. It's not unheard of. It's, I think, starting to become a little bit more of a thing, like especially friends going out to share a pizza together. But still, normally, if you go out for a pizza with friends, you go to a pizzeria where you sit down. You can also get takeaway, of course, but you have, each person has like a personal pizza, and a personal pizza is actually quite large in my opinion. Even when it comes to Italian food, and even in comparison with American dishes, it can be a pretty good sized meal just on its own. You wouldn't necessarily need to have a salad or anything extra with it. Friends share a pizza like that, where it's like if they're both not so hungry that maybe they'll both, but that isn't so normal. Normally, each person gets their own pizza. And I already had something sweet even before I started the meal, but I do have one last little thing from this pucceria. And this is just a little pastry. Simple, flaky, little, almost like a pie. This is not necessarily the most normal Italian thing you'll ever see, but I like it a lot. It looks like nothing special. It looks like a pot pie almost. But when you get into it, that's where the exciting stuff is. It just falls and breaks apart. This one on the inside happens to have cherries and cream. It's like almost like a custard type of cream. The place where I went to, they also have it with chocolate cream inside, and then also just normal kind of vanilla cream. But this is really good. Better than any pie I've ever had in America. And I was a huge fan of blackberry pie, apple pie, all those good pies, all those sweet American style pies, not necessarily like a meat pie like you would get in the UK, but this almost puts it to shame. I mean, it's Italian, so how is that really even a surprise? It's almost like slightly doughy on the inside, like, you know, when you have a cake that has that part of the batter that's cooked but not like overcooked. It's just, and slightly soggy, just that extra delicious part. But then on the outside, it's not like a hard, thick crust that you have to really bite into. It's just, it is buttery and slightly flaky, but it's soft at the same time. Anyway, I thought to do this video just because it was a request where one of you mentioned that you wanted to see more of food in Italy and just kind of general things. And this type of stuff is quick, simple, easy, cheap food, but good food and very filling. I mean, I can say, like, you only saw I had a little bite of each one of these things. Yes, it was a lot of things, but I'm already, like, basically done. Like, I don't need to eat any more right now. And I've got plenty of food for the next day or two. So if there's anything else here in Italy that you're curious to know about, curious to hear about, curious to see, let me know down in the comment section below, and who knows, maybe at some point it might become a future video. And of course, if you'd like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I'd really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. And if you'd like to help out the channel in another way and really help make videos like this possible, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon to become a monthly patron, or to just help out one time, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. And of course, thank you so much for joining me on another beautiful Friday night, even though it's actually a Monday night, but it's still going up on Friday. I'm Rafael Di Furia, aka Rafi D is me. Thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Later.